Let's dive right into this explainer because we really need to unpack the actual economic reality behind all this generative AI hype. We've all seen the doom and gloom headlines, we've played around with the chatbots, and honestly, you've probably wondered what this technology actually means for your job. Are we all going to be replaced? Well, what if I told you that the fear of human replacement is actually missing the entire point? Today, we are moving past all that wild speculation. We're grounding our understanding in hard, factual data from the McKinsey Global Institute and IBM. We're going to look at exactly where the real money is being made, which industries are literally transforming overnight, and why uniquely human abilities like empathy, creativity, and moral judgment are about to become more incredibly valuable than they have ever been before.
Okay, let's kick things off with a staggering, almost unbelievable number. McKinsey's data shows that generative AI could add up to $4.4 trillion in value to the global economy. And that is every single year. Yes, trillion with a T. Now, for decades, artificial intelligence kind of quietly hummed in the background of our lives, right? It powered the recommendation algorithms on our phones, it helped our cars stay in their lanes, but its progress was almost imperceptible to the average person. Generative AI is an entirely different beast. It is a massive, step-change evolution. It isn't about companies just trying to replace human beings to save a few bucks on payroll. It's about unleashing a colossal new wave of global productivity. It has the potential to increase the overall economic impact of all artificial intelligence by 15 to 40%.
Before we go any further, we really need to draw a distinct line between machine intelligence and human wisdom. Looking at IBM's definitions really helps clarify this. Traditional AI is fantastic at analyzing data and making calculated decisions. But generative AI uses what we call deep learning foundation models to process massive, mind-boggling amounts of unstructured data to actually create entirely new content. It doesn't just categorize things anymore, it writes coherent text, it composes original music, it generates functional computer code, and it creates stunning digital art. But here is the crucial catch. While it is highly intelligent at recognizing patterns, it possesses exactly zero wisdom. It doesn't understand context the way you do, it has no real-world experience, and it has no innate sense of purpose. It can generate 1,000 brilliant ideas in a minute, but it absolutely requires a human being to decide which of those ideas actually matters.
So here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to cover the trillion-dollar AI boom, the 4 pillars of value, transforming global industries, the new anatomy of work, and finally, we'll wrap up with the next productivity frontier.
Let's jump straight into Section 1, the trillion-dollar AI boom.
To really wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this boom, just look at this comparison. Generative AI's potential economic value is actually larger than the entire gross domestic product of the United Kingdom. Think about that for a second. We are literally talking about adding the equivalent of a major G7 nation to the global economy year after year. This is a fundamental reshaping of global commerce. It completely shatters the idea that AI is just a tool for trimming the fat on administrative tasks. We are talking about granting businesses entirely new capabilities and scales of production that were previously physically and financially impossible to achieve without it.
Moving right along to Section 2, the 4 pillars of value.
So you might be wondering, where exactly is all of this multi-trillion-dollar value actually sitting inside a typical company? Well, what's fascinating is that 75% of it is concentrated in just 4 specific departments. First up is customer operations. AI is stepping in to drastically improve customer and agent experiences. In fact, one company McKinsey studied saw a 14% increase in how many issues got resolved per hour. The AI handled the data retrieval, which let the human agent focus entirely on empathy and connection. Second is marketing and sales. AI is enabling hyper-personalization at an unprecedented scale, instantly translating campaigns and drafting copy. Third, software engineering. If you treat computer code like just another language, AI acts as an incredible coding assistant. Developers using tools like GitHub Copilot are finishing their tasks 56% faster. And fourth, research and development. AI is dramatically cutting down research time and vastly improving how we run simulations and testing.
All right, let's look at Section 3, transforming global industries.
Okay, so let's see how this incredible value actually materializes in the real world across some critical global industries. We are seeing a massive injection of value across the board, with retail and consumer packaged goods taking the lead, followed very closely by banking and pharmaceuticals. Retail companies deal with wildly complex supply chains and intense customer interaction. Generative AI allows them to completely reinvent how they interact with you. Imagine a virtual stylist that instantly visualizes a whole new wardrobe based on a simple text prompt, or a chatbot that perfectly curates your weekly grocery list based on highly specific dietary needs. It is like having a personal concierge powered by a supercomputer. Let's look at the banking sector for a great example of humans and AI working together. Morgan Stanley is already building a specialized AI assistant using GPT-4. But notice, it's not replacing the wealth managers, it acts as a virtual expert for them. It helps those human advisors instantly synthesize mountains of internal knowledge so they can give their clients the best possible advice. Banking is a highly regulated, knowledge-heavy industry, burdened by a lot of clunky legacy IT systems. Generative AI is swooping in to quickly retrieve complex policies, write perfectly tailored marketing content, and even translate decades-old computer code to modernize the entire banking infrastructure. This synergy could boost the banking industry's revenues by up to $340 billion every single year.
And this powerful acceleration gets even more profound when we look at pharmaceuticals. Generative AI has the power to take the drug discovery timeline from years down to mere weeks. Developing a new drug traditionally takes 10 to 15 agonizingly long years, but generative AI uses those foundation models we talked about to process massive data sets of cell cultures and millions of medical records. It can completely automate the preliminary screening of chemicals, rapidly accelerate lead identification, and far more accurately match the right drugs to the patient groups most likely to succeed in clinical trials. This isn't just a cost-saving measure. This is a true game changer. This is about bringing life-saving treatments to market years faster than we ever dreamed possible.
Let's transition to Section 4, the new anatomy of work.
Now we arrive at the crucial point, and honestly, the part that usually makes people a little nervous. What does all this mean for you and your daily job? Well, the McKinsey report reveals that up to 70% of our daily work activities can now be automated. That sounds scary until you realize it's about automating activities, not entire jobs. This massive jump is largely because AI finally has the ability to understand natural language. Previously, experts estimated we could only automate about half of our work time. But because language is the absolute foundation of almost everything we do at work, communicating with our teams, supervising projects, documenting processes, machines can now take on tasks that we previously thought were exclusively human domains. They are taking the busy work off your plate.
And because of these incredible language breakthroughs, the timeline for when we'll see 50% of all work tasks automated has been pulled forward by almost a full decade. The old prediction was 2053, but now we are looking at 2045. Now, obviously, technology adoption doesn't happen overnight. It requires companies to actually invest the money, figure out the economic feasibility, and take the time to build proper solutions. But the sheer, undeniable capability of generative AI means this new horizon is approaching much faster than economists predicted just a few short years ago.
Now, what is really fascinating about this data is who is going to be impacted most. Unlike past technological shifts, generative AI will actually have the highest impact on highly educated, high-wage knowledge workers. Think back to the past. Automation usually targeted physical, repetitive labor or lower-wage data entry roles. It was often called a hollowing out of the middle class. Generative AI totally flips that script. Because its superpower is cognitive tasks, synthesizing data, and drafting communication, it is the managers, the educators, the software engineers, and the financial analysts whose daily activities are going to be the most transformed by this.
And that brings us to our final section, the next productivity frontier.
This right here is the ultimate proof of why AI will never truly replace human beings. AI is stepping in as your virtual collaborator, working in partnership with you to automate very specific tasks, freeing you up for higher-level problem-solving and creative thinking. The source data is abundantly clear about the severe limitations and risks of AI. These models can and do hallucinate completely false information out of thin air. They can generate algorithmic bias because they are trained on imperfect, human-created data. They can trigger massive intellectual property and privacy concerns. Because of this, companies absolutely must institute strict human-in-the-loop workflows. You are still desperately needed to verify the facts, to inject morality, to guide the AI's strategy, and to ensure security. The AI handles the heavy lifting of synthesizing the data and doing the initial drafting, but the human provides the wisdom, the quality control, and the creative spark.
To actually harness this incredible potential 3.4% annual productivity boost, companies have to step up to the plate. They need to heavily invest in reskilling programs and fiercely support their workforce through this massive transition. Right now, global economic growth has been slowing down, mostly due to aging populations and a decline in employment growth. Generative AI offers an incredible way to compensate for that by drastically boosting the output of the amazing workers we already have. But, and this is a big but, this only works if the individuals affected by this technology shift their newly freed up time toward new, uniquely human, higher value activities.
Companies and policymakers have to work together right now to create retraining programs and manage these vast workforce transitions with extreme care and foresight. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. It's a question about whether we, as a society, are structurally and culturally prepared to handle this incredible shift in how humans and AI collaborate. The technology is already here, and the multi-trillion-dollar value is absolutely real. The question is no longer whether generative AI will change the global economy. The real question is whether we have the foresight to guide that change responsibly, to elevate and support our workers, and to ensure that this new era of productivity benefits society as a whole by allowing us to lean into the things that make us most uniquely human. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to keep exploring the fascinating data behind this revolution.